Thanks for checking out the Locked On NFL podcast on YouTube. Subscribe, get those alerts. Great daily content coming your way. The season might be over, but man, we're just getting started. This is actually where we actually do our best work in the off season here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Look, we've crowned a champion, and in the rearview mirror is the 2021 season. And looking forward ahead, we've got the 2022 off season. It's officially draft season. If you haven't checked out the Locked On NFL Draft Show, Ryan Tracy, Eric Crocker doing great work over there. If you saw their coverage from the Senior Bowl, if you haven't, check it out. If you saw it, you know how good these guys are. Ryan, thanks for joining us, man.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's that turning of the page, right? Let's get going.
Right. Not a whole lot of downtime between the end of the season and looking forward to the offseason. Free agency starts in just under a month. Excited for the new league year. And of course, draft season is upon us. Tell us about the prospects in the mix for the number one overall pick, because unlike last year, it's kind of up in the air.
Yeah, there's any number of combinations that you can see. And I think it's going to come down to the influence that happens in Jacksonville and what the coaching staff is going to bring to that mix. We've seen things happen before. We'll see what they go with, but there could be a tackle, there could be an edge rusher, there could be an out of the blue kind of weapon for Trevor Lawrence. So you don't know exactly what's going to go on.
I mean, as far as the top prospect in this draft, have you identified that personally?
I still have not yet. I go back
Okay.
and forth between the top graded edges and the top rated tackles. And that alone in itself is such a departure from years past that it's going to be someone in the trenches, one
Right.
way or the other. And that's exciting for me, a guy who gets tired of quarterback talk all the time.
We will get to that quarterback class because you might be tired of it, but everybody loves to look at the signal callers. I know that Malik Willis was kind of a fast riser like
Mhm.
the other week in the Senior Bowl. But do you expect the Jags to stick and pick here? I mean, were they that bad that it doesn't benefit them to trade out at all?
I don't think they're going to have much of a choice. I think this year in particular, without a marquee quarterback to come up and get, they're going to have very few trade offers that they're going to deem worthy, to tell you the truth. And it depends exactly how they evaluate their top guys and the direction they choose to go in, because when it's all said and done, they may find that the best way to help their second year quarterback is to support him in X way on one side of the ball. So I don't know if there's going to be movement out of those top even three picks.
Yeah. The Super Bowl matchup, does that maybe make teams flinch or get away from the idea of building through the trenches? Because we saw fifth overall pick, Jamar Chase. It's like the Bengals didn't eat their vegetables. They went for the good stuff. They get Jamar Chase, the playmaker. No way that any of the top teams would be impacted by that, right?
I don't think so, just because if you go back and you look and you listen to Jake and James on the Bengals show, like they'll tell you most of the year there was concern that Joe's going to get murdered
Right.
because of a lack of protection. So I think if anything, it's just Joe being Joe and being outside the outlier that he is, that he survived to this point. And I think they also will be a team that looks to bolster his front line.
Ryan Tracy, Locked On NFL Draft, Locked On Chiefs, joins us here on the Locked On NFL podcast. Deepest position group here in 2022.
It's a toss up. There are a lot of wide receivers. I can't say that this class has the top end that the last two classes have had, but there is a good amount of depth. There's a great amount of depth on the defensive fronts as well. Both whether you consider that edge or interior defensive lineman, there's a great group of them. And the offensive line may not have beyond the top three guys that you think can slot in and be Pro Bowl caliber, but there's a good volume of them as well. So if you have made that investment in a quarterback in years past, you have a young guy that you need to protect, you have a lot of options to do it in this draft.
And then looking at the scouting combine coming up, Indianapolis, who has the most to prove? Any prospects out there that need to kind of solidify their position, especially in the first round?
In the first round in particular, I mean, I think you want to see just what the comparison is between Thibodeau and Hutchinson in terms of their movement skills, especially the scouts will be watching the three cone. You want to see what they can do in the broad, because that's going to show you hip firing and that kind of thing. That you want to get apples to apples on them because they look so desperate on film, but they
Mm-hmm.
both get there in a different way. The wide receivers too, they want to solidify and actually arch that in. I think Olave is actually in a position to up his stock again, because he was the top coming into this last season. Now some players have passed him. I think he can regain that with a great combine showing.
Last question for you. I told you we are going to get to it. The quarterback class. Who's standing out? We talked about Willis from the Senior Bowl. Kenny Pickett was efficient in his performance in the Senior Bowl. Matt Corral coming off the injury. Anybody else we need to be aware of?
It reminds me of like that first set of bumps at the top of snowboard cross in the Olympics. Everybody's still trying to work it through. They're trying to get to the point where they can actually break out in the lead because no one's done it yet. It might be Matt Corral with a pro day workout. I keep hearing rumors that he wants to go to the combine and try to throw. I don't know if that's going to happen, but you're right. Kenny Pickett's been a leader. Matt Corral's been there. Desmond Ritter's been solid, but has some accuracy issues. Malik Willis has the upside, but also the low side. Like no one has taken the reins yet in this class, and they're running out of opportunities to do it.
It's essential listening all offseason long, free across all platforms and Locked On NFL Draft. Ryan Tracy, Eric Crocker. It's a great new duo. I love it. Been tuning in already last couple months. It's what you're going to have to listen to as you prepare for another awesome draft season. Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you. Have a good one.